Anyone else having a problem with the screen? Okay, so Thomas, you may want to log off and log on back or join YouTube live. Okay, we're live on YouTube. Good morning to our YouTube viewers, or good afternoon, depending where you are. Let's start. Today, I will probably make it a little short because of time. I have an appointment after this, so I'll just go through all the majors, some of the crosses that are very important for you guys, some that will help you, where there may be important trades, and the rest of it will probably, during the week or maybe next week, we'll elaborate on them. But if you got the majors, I'll try to run through some of the basic ones we do, like Bitcoin and so that everybody gets a view of what to do. We'll try to make it in 30 minutes. So if you guys hold in the chat, that's going to help quite a lot. Let's start. So I'm on silver because I think I've been warning people to buy silver for a while. And this might be the start of the upside. We don't know that it is. We're still in a downtrend. And you're always going to start a new trend when you're in a previous trend, right? You're going to start the uptrend when you're always in the downtrend. Right? If you're looking to get in and trend, if you're looking to buy here, you're in a downtrend, but that move doesn't mean it's not coming, right? So I think everybody should be in a buy in silver. This hasn't really moved very much, right? It just actually started the movement. And if this is going to go, I will be looking at it when they get somewhere here for correction, more of a bigger correction. So if you're in a trade and you want to get out, you'll have to wait for when that, you may want to get out when the bigger correction starts to happen, and then rejoin the trade somewhere again within that correction. So I think this might be the start of the move to the upside, and I really think we might get all the way to the top here, somewhere at 22, 23. So if you're long-term in the trade, you have to, just stay with it. And when it gets to about 16, 17, then you put it to positive. Put it to break even, put it into some profit or so, right? Everybody can see the chart. Anybody is having problem with the chart? I know there's a second person complaining. I think it's all okay. Okay, good. So we should ask if anybody else is having problem. So everything is okay. Great, let's go. So watch this. We're expecting it to come all the way to the top, right? Now that doesn't mean that this is the move that will go there. Just so that, if you're following wave analysis, you should understand these things. It doesn't mean that this is the one that will go immediately to the top there, right? Sometimes it takes a while to go, which means that you get a buy, it comes here, it probably will do something like this, gets here, and then we get another drop, right? Before it takes off. And you would see this very often. That doesn't mean you don't start buying. You start buying from the point where you're going to buy. And I will give you an example of where I've been telling you to do that previously. Remember where we were in the yen and we were at the bottom? When we were at the bottom in the yen here in the 4 hour, for example, I think you got to start buying the yen. If you're going to trade yen, you have to start buying. If you want to be long-term, short-term, it doesn't matter, but you have to start buying the yen from this point. And this was a buy, that was a buy, this was a buy. There were 3 attempts to buy. The 2 would have been break-even before you eventually get the yen, right? Now, if you took off it here and you re-enter and you took it off and you re-enter here, that's okay. There's a number of ways you can get back into these structures. Yen would be going, right? If you look at the pattern of the silver, the pattern of yen, they're very similar. You had an impulse, you got a correction, and it looks like we're going for this impulse, which means there are a lot of opportunity to buy yen again, right? You can be looking for buy setups. If you're listening to me for the last, I don't know, while, you would know that you had a lot of buy setups in here, right? And at the top there, you're supposed to move to break even, you can take it off and then re-enter again, right? Depends on what your strategy is. So there will be opportunities to buy a lot of yen here. If you want, wait for a pullback, wait for something like this, wait for a bigger correction, and then you can buy again, right? So it's the same as silver. You might be late in it if you don't get in earlier, right? So I think I've got enough on that, right? So silver and yen. There are opportunities like, let's say, the CAD yen. Remember I told you we thought the CAD yen is going to make that big move to the downside. You should be selling there because this could probably come all the way back to retest these lows. Retest at least here for a running flat pattern. So they came down, went back. If you got a break-even trade in there, that's okay. Most of my traders took the break-even. They had a lot of profit, but they took break-even because it didn't come. It went up. So are we making a different pattern? No, I still think we are probably making a move up that will come down. Now we can look at this two ways. I'm not going to go into the details of the patterns we're looking at because a lot of people here are not really versed in the patterns as it is. This is a free webinar. So we can look at it as a possibility for a flat that has completed itself there already. And this one is going to come up here. We will still come back here. That means the move to the downside will be a much bigger one. So you can buy here while you're going up. They will go up some more, but then this would become more like a 1, 2, 3 pattern. Or it is doing what we think it is doing, then this would have to come back somewhere to this level before it continues to go, giving us a bigger running flat pattern there, right? And those patterns are very common. They're not like you've not seen them. If you haven't seen them, you have to really learn patterns. So on the upside, this is going to be buy, and that means if yen is going up very strong, a lot of the yen pairs will be upside. So today I'm going to run through the yen pairs. It's a little different from what I normally do. I just want to get through the webinar so you guys can see, right? This one might not go very much. We don't think this is going to go very much. As a matter of fact, we're looking for a sell setup to see whether it's going to come down here. If they do consolidate here, if they don't get to the low, but they consolidate here a lot, which is, as you can see, they're consolidating here, right? If they're consolidating here, this becomes a buy. At least one impulse to the upside. And then we see how far it goes, right? Whether it's going to make more high. But I don't think all the yen pairs will go. It's really a dollar-yen, dollar movement thing. Aussie yen, I think this is definitely going to go more up. So you'll want to focus on this for more upside. We've broken out of this structure. We're consolidating here. So I think this one is going to go more up. Look for your buy setup based on the strategy you trade, right? Wait for the buy setup if you don't get it. New Zealand yen, same here. I think if you break this, you're definitely looking. We're looking for that upside. I've been talking about that upside quite a while. You're supposed to get in somewhere at the bottom there if you remember, because we're looking for a similar pattern. We're looking for this to go up, and this could be a big movement, right? So if yen goes up and at some point New Zealand make a move to the upside, you will probably get this move. So you can look for this move. Is it going to go now? We'll see. But pretty much you're getting a nice 1 hour consolidation here for the move to go, right? This is a nice consolidation here that is going to give you the opportunity for the move to go. So if this goes up, that would be a good buy setup. CAD yen, this already turned. So if you'd seen it at some point, once they reverse, you would start looking for a buy here, which is what we did. Once it reverses and take you out for break even, you start looking for a buy setup here, which actually existed, and you can be in the buy now. Swiss yen was a perfect one because we expected this to go up. We're looking for this to go up. So when this break here, wait for that trade. This should go one more up, right? To the upside. The bigger picture started from way down at the bottom. I think you would have seen that way down from when we were looking at these patterns to go up here. Break the top. So I still think this is going to go. This is a good opportunity because this one is just making a correction right now. Once they break that correction, we're going to get that trade to the upside. So let me put it back on the 4 hour. All you have to do is wait for it to break out, and that would be a very good trade to the upside, right? So this is coming down, but that's just a correction for more up. So that is for all the yen pairs. Let's go start with the dollar index now. Dollar index, we're going up. We're still in the correction, and you might want to watch this piece here because remember I said you want to watch this. We think we could possibly be having a running flat, which means you can look for downside. Now, if you see a sell setup here, that would be a very, very good trade. So let's go take a look. Yes, you might be getting a sell setup, right? You might be getting a flag building for a sell, which means you might want to take that because you're coming to retest the low. We're looking for a running flat pattern that is completed. 1, 2, 3, and we could be heading for the downside. That means euro, you're looking for upside, right? You're expecting euro to end it at some point here and turn to the upside. We're still looking at this as a possible running flat pattern, which means somewhere here, if you get a flag, you start looking for buy. Right? The sell, if they're going to make a sell, it's going to take a while to consolidate here before you get the sell. So if you get a small flag, but it doesn't go and it sticks around there and then start consolidating, you just get out of the trade and then wait for this to finish before you go for a sell. I'm thinking the running flat is over and we're going up. Pound, let's see, pound turned out to be a bigger one because we were expecting this to go within that running flat pattern, but then they actually did make a correction. We looked at it, we assumed that would be a correction. You're coming on. That doesn't mean this cannot go up, right? So for this has both ways. If they're going to continue to go down, you will have to wait for a flag here. If they're going to go up, you'll have to wait for it to break out, make a flag, and then look for the buy. I'm pretty much sure we're going to go more to the upside, even if you get a deeper pullback. Right? There were a number of patterns we were showing here. So this might likely go higher. Ignore what you see here. That is a long thing that was in one of our class setups. So I just forget to delete all that stuff. So just look for the trades you would be looking for, the buy you would be looking for, the options you're looking for. So I think most likely you'll be looking for a buy, right? So watch for your buy setup. Wait for it to make a flag here and then look for the buy. Aussie definitely went higher. I think all of you should have recognized that. We saw this going up, but we knew we were going to come down. Some short-term sell if you're in. Be careful, because now we want to see what this does. If this does make a correction, you're going to drop one more. But if they spike it up again and make a flag, then you go for the buy. There's going to be a buy setup. I think we're making an expanding flat there for more upside, right? There's a good chance you're going to get more upside. I don't see a correction here within which this sharp impulse fits in. Right? Not that they can go down a little more, but I don't see. If we go down a little more, then we're likely going to be making a P wave structuring here. And this would be the first wave up within a corrective structure for more downside. So if this goes down like this, slowly, which means you get sell set up, it's not a very sharp move to the downside. It's going to be very slow, right? But to the upside, we could go very fast, which means if they break out of this structure here, if we do break out of this structure, we will be going very fast, right? We made an attempt to break out. We didn't break out. But if they do break out, they will be heading for a big move like that. So keep your eyes on it. It's very likely could be going up. New Zealand, we already broke out. We're consolidating. Look for the upside, right? This is getting a short flag here, which means they can go down. You might want to consider taking this as short term. They may get a drop. I don't think we're going to go much lower because of the bigger pattern. Because of this bigger pattern we have here, might drop one more, but I don't see that structure whereby we can get a drop more unless we're looking for a bigger flat in the middle here. On the 1 hour, it's making more of a sell setup right now, right? The 1 hour, it's kind of consolidating here. I would actually wait if they make more corrections here before you sell, and that would be one short-term trade. I would not keep that for long-term, but if they spike up to the top, any flag here would be a long-term trade to the upside. We're going to expect a longer upside. So any trade, short-term trade, any trade you get for a sell is short-term. You can take it, take profit, get out. Any trade you go for upside will be a longer-term trade. CAD, well, we're finally making the flat. It looks like we might have even completed it. I thought we'll get a higher pullback. There's a possibility we can look at this as a contracting flat here, this one. This move didn't get to the top. I expect them to get to about that level before they start the downside, but this could be the start of the downside. I was a little surprised. Contracting flats do exist. We know that. So there's a possibility that this is a contracting flat and we're going down. You can confirm that pretty easy. Wait for it to make a flat here, a flag or a correction, and then start selling. Because if this starts to go, the move will be very big to the downside. So if you go back 5 or 4 webinars back when this was coming down, and I said there are two options you'll be looking for. Something you can use to learn, right? There are 2 options you'll be looking for. First option you'll be looking for is this is a possible WXY exit, and we'll be going to break the top before they turn down. Right? The second option is that is a leading diagonal possibility, which means they will make a 3-wave structure here, 1, 2, 3, and then go down. So can we consider this the 3-wave structure? If that is the 3-wave structure, then great. Watch for this to go down. Wait for a correction here and get into the sell. Right? That would be a good one. Let's go to the yen. Well, yen we already did. I showed you that possibility. Wait for buy setups. Let it make correction. Go for buy setups. Right? Let's go. Swiss. Swiss, this one is good. By the way, let me just remind you of this because I've been telling people about it and very few of you were listening maybe. Remember what I said? No matter how low this goes, then it's going to go back up and break the top. Remember that? Go back and look at the last 3 webinars. Because what we have here is a running flat. We have 1, we have 2, we have 3. That's a running flat. This has to come back here. Pretty simple, right? It's happening. So you should be in that trade at some point. If you're not in the trade, wait for a correction, wait for a pullback, get in the trade. It's going to go more. All right, so these patterns play out, and you actually had a very nice one here. You had a nice correction here. You had a nice one there. You don't want better ones than that. See? Expanding, yes, sorry. Did I say running? Yeah, my fault, don't worry. Yeah, you're correct. Thank you. It's an expanding flat there, right? So see, it just works. These patterns just work. It's not like you have to get the exact turning point, but you can see when it starts to turn. And when you start to see that picture, you start joining the trade. You start waiting for your strategy to kick in to get into the trade. Right? So see, it works. This is something I've been insisting, and I've been telling you guys, there's no matter how much it goes down, this is going to go back up because this is how the patterns behave. That's the magic of it, right? Silver, I don't know. We're not even going to look at it. I already told you what to do. Let's go look at gold. Gold made a very nice bigger correction, something we anticipated. It took a long while, but we anticipated. So if gold starts to go up now, actually you can start your buying right here. If you get a nice flag pattern here, a correction like that there, you can start buying to the top here, and then I think gold will be going up. We'll be looking at this as a big correction. Your first impulse, your 1, 2, 3, and then you go up, right? So let's see. This would be a good, if you get a nice flag there, that would be a perfect buy setup. Euros is coming down. I think we will get to this level and maybe even lower. So you're getting a flag, look for a sell setup. It might make a bigger correction though. Just be careful for that, right? And then go. Big picture, we're coming down, and then when they get to this trend line, we'll see whether they break out, because I think they should break out. I'm not expecting this to stop here, because I think there's a good chance we're making a running flat, and then we're gonna go. Right? There's a good chance for that. So you might get much more downside. Euro New Zealand. This one is coming down, but not very convincingly, right? It's if you get any flag and you get sell, take it. But there's a good chance you're going to get this straight up and then go back down. We might be seeing something like that there and then come back down. Kind of a bigger correction. So the best thing might be even to stay out of this one. You're not going to get much good trade setups, and it's moving very slow. And you might get a small sell here. It's going to be short term because you're in a corrective structure. Take a 20, 30 pips and get out of it. EuroCAD. EuroCAD, this was a good one for us because we saw that running flat there. We saw the pattern. We saw the sell setup coming, and we already had a bigger running flat in the middle here. Right? If you pull this here, that bigger running flat is there, and it turned out to be correct. So this one was easy for us. We saw that coming. You remember, you look for the sell setup. It broke the top, come down. Any correction you get here now would be a sell. So you just have to wait for a 4-hour correction. Wait for a 4-hour correction, and we are going to likely break this low on the daily. Let me show you what the pattern looks like. So on the daily, where you're expecting this to go, you're expecting this to come all the way here in the daily. But that's a daily chart, right? It doesn't come down in a straight line. See this one, when it came down, it didn't come in a straight line. There are a lot of corrections in there that you can trade, and then you might get a bigger correction somewhere here. So daily structure way down to the bottom. You have this correction in the middle here. See this? You have that correction there. So we're heading for this one down. That's it. Go back to the 4-hour and the 1-hour, wait for flags, wait for corrections, sell. Euro Swiss. Swiss is going up. So Euro Swiss, watch it. I think we might break out of this structure to the upside. Right? The Swiss is an up move. Euro not doing very much, maybe even in an up move. So watch this. I wouldn't be surprised if they start to break out of this structure and we actually get one more high. It looked very much like a flat though. So until they break out, I wouldn't be convinced they're going up, right? This little piece here was pretty much like a flat for downside. This here. I was looking at this as a possible flat pattern for downside, and they actually start to go down and then they pull back. So watch it. I would be careful here now. I wouldn't be buying it until they break out and make a correction. That will confirm the upside because they can come break the top and still drop, right? You will still probably be in a bigger flat. So for that reason, trading it right now here is dangerous. Let it prove one side correctly, and then we're going to go. Euro Yen. You might just get one more up, but be careful if you're buying up because the bigger picture is still downside. Right? The bigger picture of this is still downside. So even if you get a buy setup here for one more like that, be careful because after that, we're expecting it to do this. So if you get a short-term buy, take the trade as a short-term trade. After that, we're expecting this to go down, right? So I think that is clear. If you get the downside, which means if they don't go up, if that piece just happen to look like that, then they fall. Right? If this makes a fall, then you definitely want to look for a sell setup. The sell setup is going to break the low, so you want the sell setup on the downside. Euro pound, it's gonna reach the low, and very few of us is gonna be in it because of the way it's going. We saw that, and we look at the patience. You will have to be in it because it's moving very slow. At some point, it's gonna take off, right? So if you take any one of those cells and you keep it, you just move it to positive when you can or break even when you can. There's a good chance you're gonna take off. But watch this here. It looks like a corrective structure, but it just goes slow, and then they might make a break here and then start to fall. So you might end up with a flat or something like that there, and then watch it fall. So trading these are pretty difficult when they're going so slow in that point. Just leave it. When they make a sharp move and give us a correction, then we start trading it. But I think we're heading for the downside already. Let's see. Pangos. Can it retest the high? If they break this low, they will have to break this low first if they're going to retest the high. They most likely you would expect them to break this low here first. And if this turns out to be 1, 2, 3, we're likely going to go back up. But I don't see that. I see them actually falling here. Now, remember this pattern here, right? In the middle. When you're expecting a move to go, it starts to look like a corrective structure. But then let me show you the yen, what the yen did. See that 1, 2, 3 there and then took off? You're actually making a very nice running flat here. This is what we were saying, that this is a possible running flat before they go, right? So it's the same kind of pattern, and then this just keeps going. This was going very slow too, and then it just takes off, right? So you're getting a smaller version of this on the euro pound. It's a smaller version of that. Very small version. 1, 2, 3, and this one is coming down very slow, and then suddenly it's just going to take off. See? Okay, we'll probably do the pound trades and a few more, and then we're already close to the 30 minutes or so. I'll just leave a couple seconds for if any questions comes up. Not on a pair, don't ask me to do the next pair. We're not going to have the time to do it, but if you have any serious questions on anything, we can look at it. Yes, this one also we think is downside. We've got that big running flat there. 1, 2, 3. This one is pretty much similar to what the Swiss is doing. If you look at the Swiss on the other side, remember the break of the top on the Swiss, they went pretty deep and then they start to go up now, right? So we can expect this to come down here. Look for sell setups. Look for sell setups. Go on the 1 hour, look for flags. Go on the 4 hour, look for corrections. They're making a flag right now. This would be good if you have a nice correction here. Not just a small flag, but a better correction. Like if they spend some time here, this would give you more confidence to get that trade to the downside. And the impulse to the downside is going to be a bigger one for you. All right, let's see. Pound New Zealand. Stay out of this one. It's a complex pattern. We'll explain it next time when I have the time to. Pound CAD, you're definitely looking for the downside. They broke that structure, but like I warned my traders, I didn't think I managed to warn the group about this last week, but I warned somebody asked me about this and I said, be careful if they break, right? Because even if they break, it's just a 1, 2, 3. We were aware of that because this is coming down now, right? So with this going down, where are we going? Let's go to the daily on this one. Right. With that going down, we're likely coming to break this low. They're likely coming to break that low. So any correction you get here will be, when they break this low, then we would look at this whole structure to see whether there's more upside in it. But now we're going to break the low. So, wait for a flag, something that is compelling, and then trade it. If you get any 1 hour flag, it would be good for a sell. Pound Swiss actually went back up. We thought that would be the one that is going down totally. It started to go very nice. Didn't make any correction. We're waiting for a correction here. Make a bigger correction. That's just a bigger correction, right? If you didn't get the up move, don't worry about it. It's just a bigger correction. It's not going up. I don't think we're going up as yet, right? We broke out of the structure, and I think that's just a bigger correction there. This is just making a deeper correction here. And I wouldn't be surprised if they spend more time here coming back doing this, right? Before you get the next big move down. The next move will come to break this low. So yes, we might get some correction here. Remember when we were selling it from here and from here and from that and from this and from this, and we still get that move before they came down. So you could get more corrections in here. And once they break, that would be the trade. So what you start doing is looking for buy setups. When you get it, take it for short term. Right now, what I would want to do is wait to see, let this come back here, either as a correction, and then look for another buy. That is going to be short term. And every time they make a new top, you start looking for sell setups. So they come down slow again, they go back, make a next one, you look for sell setups. Right? They can spend a long time there, but every time they go to make a new high and start to give you a sell setup, look for the sell setup, because one of those are going to take off to the downside, right? So look for that when you go. If you know, whilst it's in the correction, you can just stay out of it, right? So that's the Peng Yen. Peng Yen is probably going to give you one more short-term trade. It actually broke out, but it didn't go. So when they don't, you get out of the trade. We might get one more short-term trade to the upside. I would treat it as a short-term trade for now. I'm not even sure they're going to break the top. We might just see this and then they fall. If they break the top, they will have to come back and then go, which means we're going to look at this as a running flat. So be careful. The buy to the upside, at least the next impulse to the upside, is short-term. The bigger trade is still to the downside. Even if it makes another correction and make a new high, that would not change the structure. It'll just change how long this impulse is going to be within that pattern, right? And that's not something you can pretty very clear that this is the one that's going to turn. But every time you get a turning point, you sell it. And every time you get a trade set up for a sell, you take it because one of them is going to drop. Right now, it's giving you a small short-term buy setup here, which is, I think they might break this. If you can take that trade, actually, if you want, this might be a good trade. Take this trade to the top, break out of this, put it to break even, see if they continue to go. If they stop anywhere here and turn to the downside, you just get this and you start looking for sell setups. Right? It's pretty easy. So let's see. We're going to skip. I did all the yen already, so we're going to do a little of these. Let's do US oil. I'll look at oil for you guys because oil is going up. If you get a buy, there was a buy setup here actually, and then there was a second buy setup there. It's a buy, it's short term, take profit. Don't keep the trades as yet because we're not confirming the bigger upside as yet. It's going up, right? But this whole piece might still be a big correction. I don't think this is the only correction we have here. So this whole piece might be, so take that as a short-term trade, you get another correction, take the trade, take short-term, you get another correction, take the trade, take short-term profit. Every buy short-term profit, right? Even if they break the top, we'll just look for a running flat, right? We're in a big correction here now before it goes. We'll do that next week in more detail, show you that corrective structure, right? So UK oil will be the same. UK oil, they actually broke out here. You got this one, they broke out of this. You probably get the trade. You could have got the trade earlier. Actually, the trade was somewhere in here once they break out, right? Short term, take profit. Don't keep the trades, right? Because somewhere you're going to start to get deeper pullback, right? This one didn't, we were looking for whether they were going to do it in here. They didn't do that. They broke out, they go. So we'll take this off. That will be 1, 2, 3. We did not get a fifth one. Be careful of every buy still because you're going to get a deep pullback at some point, right? It's in the up move, but you still got to watch it pull back. I think that correction is pretty small for what we were expecting. We're expecting a bigger correction, but just take every buy and one trade at a time. Take the profit out, wait for the next correction, get in the trade again. Because if you keep it long term, you'll get yourself in trouble. It's not a long term trade. S&P 500, I think we're making another correction. It's more like a correction, like this one. It started to go down, look like a correction change. That means we're going to get one more impulse up. It's just one more impulse up. One more impulse up. Not very aggressive. It's not really going anywhere. If you look at where you are, you're within this price range, right? It's not going very far. It's moving slowly, slowly up. So at some point, we start to get a sharp move down. You can look for a buy, a short-term buy, and we're at the top. So let me show you this very fast if I can do that in a weekly. Because I think a lot of you might want to be aware of the warning signs that you're getting now. So you see, if you look at it, we have a lot of move. We got to move up or move up or move up. That might be a small correction. I was expecting it to be a bigger one like this, but it might be a small correction like that. I still don't like it. I think it will turn out to be a much bigger correction. So at some point, with all the divergence in play, this thing is going to start to come down, right? You're getting a lot of, see, pull back there, pull back here. You get some smaller ones in here. These are the bigger pullbacks. This one is not a big one. So we are in that up move, which means at some point this starts to make a big correction like that, right? So now that you're getting it in the 4 hour, if you look in the 4 hour, you're starting to get, see in the 4 hour, you're starting to get some corrections, pullback, a lot of corrections in here, right? A lot of pullback. It's not going aggressive and you're getting a lot of divergence, So that means at some point, the short impulses to the upside stops. They make another one and somewhere you're going to get a very big drop. Put an entry order here. When you break that top, put an entry order here. The entry order was here, take it out, put it here now. They break the top, make consolidation, go up again, move that entry order to this level. An entry order for a sell and keep it. Nothing will go wrong if it keeps going up. But if they're going to make a sudden drop, you're not going to get in that trade unless you have an entry order there that will be respected by your broker. Otherwise, to that, you're going to miss the whole downside, and that downside will be very, very fast and very aggressive. Let's go. DAX going up, we know that, and I still think they're going to go up. They came down a little very sharp here, right? It didn't break out of the structure, so the only possibility, I think, is they'll make one more low and then go back up. I still don't see very much a chance for the one more low, so I wouldn't be surprised if they turn from here and go, right? This is corrective in relationship to that. You can see it, right? This is coming down like this. So at some point, this goes back up. Short-term sell, if you're going for a short-term sell, let's put it here. Wait for a flag. I wouldn't sell it here because this could turn right here and go back up. I would wait for a correction. If you get a correction there, then you sell. If you get a correction like that, see what we did? We wait for that correction, then you sell. You sell and you take profit. Don't keep the trade. It's short-term. Even if they break the low, it's short-term, they're going to go back up. So if you get the correction, that would be a long time to wait, and then you take the trade and you get out. If not, they can reverse it, right? It's at that point where they can turn. Let's do Nifty for those traders who come in here. Nifty is breaking already. I want you to be careful of this because let me go in a 1 hour for this one. Yeah, if you're selling in this one here, you got to be careful. Put that to break even very fast because of this structure here. And because you had a sharp move there, so I still think we will go back up here before they come. It could be, if they break the low, it's going to be a running flat, but it's not a complete flat pattern as yet. Right? We broke the low. So you'll have to be careful that they'll probably go back up a little, make a flat pattern. There's a good chance this might go. Move it to positive, even if it goes there, because they could come back up here, complete this flat pattern, and then go. Right, then get the downside. We've seen them done that very often. They go back up, complete the pattern, and then drop. Right? So let's go. Bitcoin, for those of you who trade. Bitcoin did make a spike up, right? Nothing changed, nothing new. We just looked at that as a sharp spike within a bigger corrective structure. And I still think this is going to be downside. So you can actually put this if you want. Look at it like this way. And I still think this is going to make one more downside before they go up, right? So even if you take that buy, it comes to the top, you got to take profit out of it, right? There was a flag there for a buy. You took that because the bigger structure is still going to retest the low, right? I think you can see it. If you look at Bitcoin, it's not difficult to see when you have a correction. You see the corrections. You see the corrections. You see the corrections. This one was a big one. See, this is just making a corrective structure. Those are the impulse. Those are the impulse. That will be the impulse. And then we will go up, right? So I think even if they keep pulsing this a little more like this, it's still going to be more of a correction, and then you're going to drop, and then you're going to go back up. So expect this to make a sudden sharp move down before it goes back up. The bigger picture will still go up, right? This sharp move is still coming, right? But I think they will just keep it like this, drop, keep it like that, drop. You will get something that will be going like this, right? Kind of drop, 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 and then up. So the more they do that pattern, the better it is. Expect them to break this low at least, and maybe even this low, right? So watch for that sell setup short term. If you're buying, don't hold it for long term, or if you want to hold it, I mean, if you can hold it within that range, it's okay. If anything you want to hold within that range, it's Ripple. right? You don't want to hold that. Ripple is the one you're going to hold for that range. Ripple is going up back. I thought they would tag the low and then go something like that, right? 1, 2, 3. Well, they're going up here, so that means we're going to make a running flat here. And then we're going to continue to go up here. So you'll probably see something like this: 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then you'll probably come back here and go. There'll be a big flat in the middle here. It's not going to take off without that. So you've got your big flat here. See that big 1, 2, 3 here? Now we're in the wave 2 of this, and we're making a running flat. So this is probably going to do something like that. Come back here, go up. You'll get a big running flat here. You get something like that up there, and then you get a sharp drop, and then you take off. You'll probably get something like this. That's the most common pattern I'm giving you. It's not necessarily going to do exactly that, but that's the most common one, which means at some point it's going to do something like that. So with that, I think I would have to leave it there because I'm running out of time today, so I really can't do everything. I'm trying to pick the most interesting one for you. For Platinum and for Nasdaq and all of that, you guys can actually, I'll see if during the week I have a chance to do a more updated one for you. I will go with that, right? So with the next 2-3 minutes that I have, if you guys have any questions, not on a single chart, don't ask me to do a single chart. Any major questions, I can take a look at it for you. Any questions, everything? If you guys can help spread the links for the webinars, for these thing, because you'll be surprised. People are still asking me, hey, where are you? Like, look at this guy yesterday asking me, hey, I just realized you're not, this is yesterday, right? This guy's asking me this question 3 hours ago. He's asking me, he just saw that I'm banned on TradingView. And I'm like, first thing, don't send me a message on TradingView because I cannot answer you there, right? So there's still thousands of people are looking for me. They don't know. It's more than 2 years already. And now this guy is trying to figure out where are you, right? So if you can help share it so that people find it, because people are still looking. They don't know what happened. Some people think I just stopped and all of that. I don't know why you can't just Google Anil Mangal and find me. That would be easy, and then you'll find my YouTube videos, and you will see all the videos. You know it's me, it's authentic, right? There are spammers out there who are trying to be like me or use my name or whatever. You will know it. You will look at my YouTube videos, and you'll know me, right? I think if you follow me for a while, you know. So if you guys can help spread it, that will, help some of those guys who are still looking for 2 years, right? Right? So everybody, take care. Have a good week. I wish all of you a very good week out there. Last week was great. If this silver go this week is going to be excellent, right? And I would see all of you next week. Maybe during the week, I'm not sure if I'll have the time. I'll see. My family's coming back, so if I have the time, I'll plan a very good one for you guys during the week. So take care, everybody, and stay tuned on Facebook for the update if I'm going to do it during the week. Take care. See all of you. Thank you for coming. Bye-bye.